For tonight's late night project, the Hop Hornbeam stave, that garbage stave that was all twisted and straightened out now, fire hardened. I put the buffalo horn tips on, they look good. And I'm going to do a little tillering when I get a chance, when it's not going to be raining out and it's going to be a nice day. They look pretty good, right? Then I had some AE40, the glue, left. I put some just in that crack there, just for a little structure. There's a little crack in the end there. I put it in for structure, but that'll probably be sanded out. It'll disappear. So that's it. That's my project. I think this bow is going to be a nice bow when it's all done. Good morning. It's Sunday, May 4th, and we're going to tiller this garbage stave of Hop Hornbeam. And no matter what happens, we're going to give it a try. But what I like to do is get one more piece from my friend's property of a really nice straight piece. And I want to try and steam the cambium off to see what kind of pristine back I can get. I found with most woods, if you steam it for an hour and 15 minutes, the cambium will peel off like a banana and you'll have a pristine back. So as you can see, there's a lot of cambium and divots and stuff here. So we don't know what's going to happen when we bend it. It could break, but I really don't care. This went in the firewood pile, back out a couple times, but today's the day we're going to tiller it. Here's where our tillering marks are. We got them at the fade outs. They're measured equally from the ends. The limbs are equal lengths. We have 1 inch from the bottom of the string groove. We have a mark. Over here, 1 inch from the bottom of the string groove. We have a mark. And between the fade out and the 1 inch from the bottom, we put a center mark. So there's a center mark right here. And that's our tillering marks for today. You can see the fire hardening from the back set. We have a loose string. We're going to take it down to just a little past level. I feel there's a lot of weight on these limbs that got to be reduced yet. We're going to take our stick. We're going to go from the fade out to the string groove, 1 inch from the string groove, and we're going to look and see the bend. Okay. And what you can see is that we got more of a bend on the inner, and we got hardly any bend on the outer. So where there's a flat spot, which is from here to here, we're going to take that material. We're going to take material out of the outer to try and get a nice mirror image, a nice even bend. And this micro tillering ensures that there'll be even stress on the limbs as we pull it down further. So here we go. As we look over here on this limb, we can see that we pretty much have a nice even bend. And we're not going to touch anything on this limb, but we see this limb is bending more. So after I reduce that flat spot a little bit, remove some material, I start out in the middle and sand outwards. Then I'm going to take a few strokes off of this limb to see if I can get it to bend a little more too. This bow is very heavy weight. What I did was I took off the several strokes to remove that outer limb that was thick. And then I took 20 additional strokes off, and how I do it on the belt sander is I hold my hand flat and I go even. I took 20 strokes off, so this one will bend as much as this. And because it's heavy, I took 25 more strokes off this side and 25 more strokes off this side. So it's kind of starting at the beginning, but not really, because when we put it up to bend, I'm hoping that it bends a little better and that outer will start to bend. Okay, let's check it out. I took out even strokes on both sides to reduce the weight. So let's see, this bend was pretty good. Let's see if it's still pretty good. Okay, taking even strokes off of this limb, We still have a really great bend going on. You see that perfect bend we got? Now let's check out over here and see what we got over here. This one, the outer wasn't bending enough. And overall wasn't bending enough. So hard to do this and hold it for the camera, but it is what it is. Okay, look what we got here. We got a bend going on. And if you look at it closely, you can still see from here to here, we got a little flat spot to take care of. Okay, and let's just take an idea how much of a bend we got. Okay, we probably got like 3/8 of a bend there. And look, we got a lot of bend here. So we're going to take off material from that flat spot, and then I'm going to take off another 20 strokes off of this just to see if I can even up the bend of the limb. This is very boring to watch, but it shows the progression of removing a little material at a time, and you really want to achieve a perfect bend before you go down any further. Okay, we still have that nice bend over here. Okay, we still have we have a better bend here now. A little better bend going on, but we still on this outer right here, we need a little more material to come off. So from here to here, just a little bit of material coming off. And we definitely want it to bend more. Okay, we definitely want it to bend more. We have a flat spot from here to here. And I'll put my fingers behind this. And then we want the overall limb here to bend to get a bigger gap. Okay, let's see what we did. We got a nice bend going on there. And we finally get a nice bend going on here. And it's about the same distance. So we're going to go down 1 more inch. And it's very heavy, so we're going to have to reduce material on both sides. But let's see what we got here. We're looking as we go down 1 inch at a time, we see if anything is magnified or jumps out. So we got a nice bend going on still. This has a more even bend. So let's check out the outer on this one. We've got an even bend, but it's not bending as much. So we're going to remove a little bit more material to get it to bend a little bit more. And since it's very heavy, I'm going to take off about 20 strokes on each limb. Now that we remove material and you have the concept of removing the flat spots to give an equal bend on each side, we're going to use that center mark to see how much it's actually bending. Okay. So we have this side 1 inch. And we have this side 5/8. So we have to make this side bend a little more still. Okay, so that's the idea of the center mark. So once I get this even, I'll tell you how many times I went back and forth. We'll start again. I'll start the tillering process again and show you. We went back twice since the last video. Twice. And we got 1 1/8 over here. And we got 1 1/8 over here. So what it allows us to do now is we're able to go down another inch and check it out. And we still got that perfect bend going on. Nothing jumps out. Perfect bend. And there's something I want to bring to your attention. When you have a bow that has humps on it, like this here, you make sure that it's an optical illusion. It's not a hinge. You see over here? It may look like something's developing, but it's not. Trust the yardstick. And the yardstick will always be true. Now that we have everything bended nice and even, this is where we want to be to put a string on it. Just a little bit further down. So we're going to pull down another inch. And we're going to check it out. We're almost at the point where we could put a string on it. We're just about there. So let's check out the bend again. Bend looks perfect. There's nothing that jumps out. The bend looks perfect over there. And let's see here. Bend looks perfect here. And don't pay attention to this. It's a hump. We got to look at the belly, the flat spot. And we got to look at the bend with the ruler. Okay, so it's bending beautiful there too. Now, these marks right now are nothing but reference points because we have a loose string. So we're at 22.5. We're going to pull the string down with a scale at the top of the 22.5 and see what kind of weight we have. Let's see what kind of weight we have at that almost brace height. £48. Okay, we got 48 pounds. Trying to get it on camera, but we have 1 3/8 from the center to the straight edge from the points, and 1 3/8 over there. So now we're going to go down to this 22.5 inch mark again and see what kind of weight we have. Now that we reduced and I reduced, I count 1 stroke as I push forward, 1 stroke as I pull backwards. Some people might count that as 1, but I count each one. 1, 2. So I took out what I call 40 strokes. So let's see what we got at 22.5. $46. So we have to reduce a lot more material because we don't want it 46 pounds at brace height. We want it a lot less. Going back and forth since the last video, I must have took off 80 strokes. Okay, and what I'm using is I have a 40 grit belt that's worn. Okay, so it's worn. It's not really that aggressive anymore. And what we do is, since we took off that much material, we want to make sure everything's bending even again. So we're going from the fade out to here, to the end by the tip. And we're looking and we see, when we look back, we see we got a nice bend. And what we have is 1 5/8 inches. And we're going to look over here and see what we got. And we have 1.5 inches. So we have slightly more here than we do over there. So we're just going to take some strokes off, even it up. Once I even it up, then I'll come back and I'll show you the pounds. Just took a few more strokes and I evened it up. We're going to go down to this 22.5 mark and see what the weight is. Okay, we got 34 pounds. 34 pounds. 34 from 48. Took a lot of strokes. And we're ready to put a string on. So let me see if I can find the string. Now that we're ready to put the string on, I have 120 grit. And I'm taking all the edges and rounding them nice so it's nice and smooth. It'll prevent some splintering. And also, when you put the string on, you don't want the string to catch and peel any wood. You want it to slide on and off nice and even. You want it to catch. Once I do this, we're going to reintroduce those marks again. Which you can see, they're still there. But we're going to make them nice and bright so we can see them again. So we can use them as a reference point as we continue the tillering process down. But once we got this micro tilled and we're bending all the way down and we get a string on, the next thing is to get the limbs even with the string. And a big reason why whenever you throw a string on, like for brace height, that they're always off is because of the fade outs. The curves and the fade outs, measuring from the curves and the fade outs, okay, is a little different. You know, they're not, the thickness might be a little bit off. We have it bending perfect, but now we want it to match the string. Believe I found the string. We're going to put it on. Just a couple of things before you string it. Like I said, round the edges nice so the string can slide on it. We're not talking shape and tips yet. We don't know what's going to be the top and the bottom. And how we could kind of determine what the top and the bottom is. We look down it from tip to tip. And you kind of see, if you can imagine every line from tip to tip, you can sort of see that as I'm looking down it, the tips favor this side. So if they favor that side, this should be the top limb for a right-handed for me. So we'll see when we get it and pull it back and string it and get it even. But we're going to slide the limb down. The top limb down is the bigger loop. The bottom loop is always a little smaller on a string. And what we're going to do too, the other thing I wanted to tell you was, check inside. If you put horn tips on, I want to show you, use a chainsaw file to get them down. Make sure you take that chainsaw file and round the edges. Make sure there's nothing sharp on the edges by just gently rounding with the chainsaw file, okay? Let's see what happens when we go to string this. I think the string's got to be shortened a lot more. As a matter of fact, let me twist this shorter and I'll come back. Well, I actually had to find another string, a little shorter one. See how this works out. Okay, let me check the brace height. Five inches. Let's just see how this is. I'm going to tighten it up, but I want to see how even it's bending. We got 5 5/8. We got 6. So this bottom limb needs to bend more right off the bat. We got 5 and we got 4.5. So this is the bottom limb, like I thought. And we're going to remove material on the bottom limb, twist it tighter, and check it again. Okay, let's see what we got. Still have our marks here. Okay. So we got roughly 7 and 7.5. This bottom limb still needs to bend more. We got 5.5 and we got 6. So this bottom limb has to bend more. I almost have it perfect. I just want to show you as I put the string on and I'm measuring from my marks, from the inner marks and the midpoint marks. When you realize that one is shorter and you have to remove material to make it bend more, take the pencil and mark it. This way, by the time you take the string off, you don't make any mistakes. You know what actually has to have material removed. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to be clear on that. And now that we have a string on, every time I remove material, I round the edges. So we're almost there, and just a little bit more to go, and I'll show you, and we'll start tillering from the correct brace height and an even string on. To let you know, I went back and forth 6 times since the last video. Walking with a pencil, carefully taking off. And the only other thing I've been doing this time is I've been exercising the limbs a little bit and then measuring, and I always round the edges off. So now everything's even. Okay, we have a nice even 6.5 inch brace height, and we're going to put it up here. And now these are on the side on the right are actual draw lengths. They're about a 1/2 inch short of the draw length, because the last mark, the mark I used was 2 inches, and this is a little less than 2 inches. So we're going to go down a little and check how the limbs are bending. We went down to 20 inches. We're not stressing anything. Checking a nice bend. And everything looks pretty good. The inners are a little stiffer, and that's okay. I may change that up. Got a beautiful bend. The inners are a little stiffer. Check over here one more time for a comparison. I may take a little bit out of here. So now, how do we tell how they're bending? So since we have our marks, let's put our marks here again. And let's go 5 inches. And we got roughly 1 7/8. So let's put our marks here again. Let's go down. 1 7/8. They're bending good. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to see how many pounds we have it at. The draw is actually probably around 22. We're going to see what kind of weight we have now at that 22-inch draw. It's deceiving. It's good. It's fine. Okay, we got 33 pounds at 22 inches. So I'm going to go down, pull down a little bit more, and I'm going to review the video. We're going to go down to 25 inches. Well, we're almost there. Let's go down to the 26. We're at 36 pounds. Okay. So we got another 3D weight. That's like my favorite 3D weight is 36, 37. So let's see what it looks like when I pull it back. I'm going to put the camera back a little so you can check out the profile. Let's see how this profile looks. It's nice and smooth and easy to pull back. It's time to shape the handle, cut out a shelf, and shoot it. Well, I'm pretty happy. I beat the rain. I got this garbage stave to bend. I got it at 36 pounds at my draw length. There was some big major knots here, in here, and when I was putting on the buffalo horn tips that I have shaped, this is the bottom one rounded, this is the top one pointed. Okay, I filled in these knots, these cracks here, with AE40 for a little structural support. I think I might fill in a little bit more because it held, just to smooth it out a little bit before I finish it. But beat the rain. It looks pretty good, right? I'm going to put everything away and we're going to try and get some shots off in the back. It's supposed to be raining for the next couple of days. I got lucky and was able to squeeze this in this morning. So here we are with it all shaped up out in the backyard. And when I kept taking this out of the wood pile, because I was going to cut it up because it was a garbage stave, I kept saying to myself, if I can make this knot, this crack, this knot, in a riser, it'll look pretty cool when it's finished. So that's how I laid it out. This one here, this little knot here, is going to be filled in with AE40 just to make it structural and smooth for when I finish it. So as far as woods go, what I found out is hickory is my favorite. Black locust is poisonous and toxic, a little more detail to work with, but it makes a good bow. So I'd have to say that's second on my list. And then recently I got some yellow birch. And that yellow birch is kind of tying for second place with the wider limbs. It shoots really fast. I made a test video, with a thinner limb and a thicker limb. You need the limbs to be at least 1 3/4. They were actually 2 inches. And when I got done, they were sanding and finishing. They were 1 3/4. But you do need a wider limb on that yellow birch. But it shoots really nice. So this is my least favorite, I would say, this Hop Hornbeam. As far as speed and everything, which speed doesn't matter. I always found these to be just a little slower, but they shoot great. So, okay, we got the scale. Let's see. We'll zero it out. $35.6 pounds. So it's almost 36 pounds. It's a great 3D poundage. Okay, we're going to start with the 700 spined Entrada, and I have 800 spine vectors from Easton, and we're going to see how they fly. Like I say, I know this is not as fast as hickory, so I'm going to aim for like the lower third of that bear and see what happens. Okay, went to the left. When the left is usually a pluck, my hand was against the face. And also when it goes to the left, it's a little stiff. So let me try the 800 and see if anything different happens. You know what? Let me take the 700 just to make sure it wasn't me. Shoot a 700 again. And this time I'm going to really keep my hand tight against my face. Better, but it's still left. So now what we're going to try is the 800 spine vector. Right there, you see the weaker spine moved it over. So these 800s, I think, are the ones for this bow. Now you can see how how high it went. It went a little bit higher, and it went right where I was looking. Try it again. Okay, good group. First time shooting this. Let's try that 20-yard deer with these. And like I said, it's only 36 pounds, and these aren't the fastest. So I'm going to aim for the top of the 10 ring and see what happens, and then we'll compensate. I got one more arrow after this. Okay, so I went for the top of the 10 ring, and it shot low. So with this little lightweight bow at my draw length, I think we're going to put it on the back strap and see what happens. Okay, it brought it up. It brought it up. So let's take a little quick look. Okay, the Eastern Vectors at 800 spine, all the ones for this bow. You can see the group is tighter, they're hitting where I'm looking. And let's look over here. So, I aimed for the top of the 10 ring and went down here. I aimed for the back strap and it went here. So the back strap is it, but the 800 spines are the correct spine for this bow, because it's not the fastest, and it's 36 pounds at my short draw of 26 and a half. Okay, so look, we still got a nice even tiller. We got a beautiful handle. It's going to be interesting when I finish this, fill it in and finish it, because it's like artwork inside the riser. And I just want to say, every day that you wake up is a great day. Make a bow. If I can make a bow out of this twisted, humpy, knotty stave, you can make a bow out of just about anything, okay? So, get up. Be grateful that you wake up in the morning. Go out and shoot. Maybe go to Keith Shannon Outdoors and get his fire hardening video. Learn how to fire harden. Get permission from your neighbors. Go cut down a tree and make a bow. You don't have to wait months for it to dry, okay? You can cut it down, fire harden it, and make a bow. Thanks for watching.